Hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. Hello again, people. Hello and welcome to this, the best week of the year so far. Well, it might be the best week of the year so far. It's a bit of a subjective idea, I know, but, well, every new week we start has the chance to be the best week of the year, doesn't it? It's only at the end of the year when we look back and assess or evaluate, when we analyse and appraise, that we're able to determine, to decide which week, in fact, was the best week of the year. So, it's quite possible that when we look back on this year, when we're sitting with a plate of frankfurters and lentils, waiting for the clocks to chime 12 and usher in the new year, that we'll look at each other across the table of frankfurters and lentils and smile at each other and say, perhaps quietly, perhaps loudly, that all depends on the sort of party, the sort of celebration we're having, that the week which began on Sunday, the 18th of November, was the best, or one of the best weeks of the year. And then again, maybe we'll decide that it was one week in April. We can't tell. We don't know the future. Also, let's not forget that this is a pretty subjective idea. You might think that the third week of June was a cracker, whilst I might lean towards the last week of August or the second week of September. Anyway, that's all in the future. And now I've got a question which is about the past. Yes, it's time to make sure that we satisfy protocol. Did you all have a good weekend? Did you all enjoy yourselves? Did you get a kick out of the things that you did at the weekend? Did you revel in your free time? Did you bask in the luxury of having a couple of days to do what you wanted to? Were you thrilled by the opportunities that the weekend provided? Yes? Well, I sincerely hope so. That's why the weekend is there, people. That's why the weekend was invented way back a very long time ago, when the dinosaurs were the lords of the land and people like you and me wore funny clothes made out of bits of dead animals. All right, well, we can discuss ancient sartorial elegance another time. Today, and in fact this week, we've got something else planned. This is still the Mega Revision Part 4. And we've now reached the beginning of the fourth week of 5. Yes, we've completed 3 weeks of the 5 weeks which we planned for the Mega Revision Part 4. And that means that there's only 2 weeks left. And this is the first of those 2. So, hang on to your pants, socks and hats. If you're wearing a hat, that is. But presumably you're indoors, so why are you wearing a hat? Never mind. If you want to walk about the place with a bonnet on, that's fine with me. But just remember, no berets, no? Okay? Save the berets for the French lessons. Or, better still, just forget the berets, okay? There are only 2 groups of people who are allowed to wear a beret. Soldiers and French people. So, if you don't fall into one of those 2 groups, take it off. You look daft. Okay, so 4 times when we normally use the present perfect. Number 1, event in past connected to present. Number 2, event or state began in past and continues to present. Number 3, life experience until time of speaking. And number 4, recent or very recent events and states. All right, so those are the times when we use the present perfect. Good. Now, what about the form of the present perfect? The present perfect simple. What is it that we need to make a positive sentence in the present perfect simple? Yes, that's right. The thing we need to make sentences in the present perfect is the past participle, the third form of the verb. As I'm sure you all remember, we form the present perfect simple using the verb to have as an auxiliary verb in combination with the third form, the past participle of another verb, the main verb in the sentence we're making. The structure of a positive sentence in the present perfect simple follows the same pattern as other sentences we've seen in English. Subject plus verb plus object, if there is one. I like giraffes. Now, that's the basic form of all sentences in English, but because this is the present perfect, we know that we don't have only one verb in the sentence, but two. We also have an auxiliary verb, the verb to have. Subject plus auxiliary verb plus main verb plus object, if there is one. I've lost my wallet. Okay, so a slightly altered form for the present perfect simple because we have to use an auxiliary verb to make the tense. Okay, but this is nothing to get excited about, is it? We've seen this sort of thing before and we can handle it, can't we? Yes, of course we can. You know that, and so do I. All right, so the verb to have is the auxiliary verb that we use to make the present perfect simple. Okay, and is that a problem? Well, no. At least it shouldn't be. We've seen and dealt with the verb to have plenty of times, haven't we? And we can conjugate it backwards. I ever, you ever, he, she, it, sa. We ever, you ever, they ever. Okay, well, we can conjugate it backwards. We do know this verb so well. We know its ins and outs. We know what it likes for breakfast, lunch and dinner. We know its very character, from fruit and nuts to ice cream and after-dinner mints. But conjugating the verb to have backwards isn't really helpful, is it? No, not really. So let's just accept that we know the verb very well indeed. But let's conjugate it the correct way. Forwards, not backwards. Backwards doesn't make any sense, does it? See? Some of that was backwards, and it wasn't particularly easy to understand, was it? No. So let's keep things moving forwards, always moving like a shark, but never in reverse. Also, just like a shark. Sharks don't have a reverse gear, do they? I don't think so. I'm not sure. Ask a marine biologist. Okay, so moving on and moving forwards, let's hear the correct conjugation of the verb to have, shall we? I have, you have, he, she, it has, we have, you have, they have. Okay, so as we all know, the conjugation of the verb to have is very, very simple. The only place where we have to exercise caution, or the only place where, as Ralphie, Austrian boy wonder, and Yoda wannabe thinks we should beware, is when we're dealing with the third person singular. That's the only place where the conjugation changes. If we're talking about the first person singular or the second person singular or any of the plural forms, then we know that we use have. If, on the other hand, we're using the third person singular, then we have to remember to use not have, but has. Okay, so let's see some examples of positive present perfect sentences. Number 1, I clean the bathroom. Number 2, she walk the dog. Number 3, he do his homework. Number 4, they finish the job. Number 5, we be to Merida. All right. Well, you didn't think that I was going to spoon feed you now, did you? Oh, come on, you can do better than that. You don't need my help with sentences like these, do you? No, you're just being lazy. Now, come on, pull your socks up and complete the sentences. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, so time's up. So, have you all finished? I should hope so. All right, so what have we got? Number 1, I have cleaned the bathroom. Number 2, she has walked the dog. Number 3, he has done his homework. Number 4, they have finished the job. Number 5, we have been to Merida. Okay, well, those were simple enough, weren't they? First one, what's the subject? Yes, the first person singular, which means what? Well, that means that we need have for the auxiliary verb. Okay, and what about the main verb? Well, that's the verb to clean. And we know that the verb to clean is a regular verb, so to make the past simple form of the verb, we add ed to the infinitive. Clean becomes cleaned. Okay, so that's the past simple form, but we're dealing with the present perfect here, so we don't need the past simple form, but the past participle. Aha! But what do we all remember about the past participles of regular verbs? Yes, that's right. With regular verbs, the past simple form and the past participle are the same. So, we know the past simple form, and we know that the verb is regular, and that means, yes, that means that we also know the past participle of the verb to clean. Clean, cleaned, cleaned. Excellent! Let's see it. I have cleaned the bathroom. Great! And on we go. What about the next one? Well, the subject is the third person singular, which means that we have to be a little bit careful. It's has, not have, that we need here as the auxiliary. So, she has or she's. Good. And what about the verb? The main verb? The verb to walk? Well, is it a regular or an irregular verb? Yes, that's right. The verb to walk is regular. To make the past simple form, we just add ed to the end of the infinitive. And because it's a regular verb, we also know the past participle, don't we? Yes! Walk, walked, walked. Good. Giddy up. Let's see it. She has walked the dog. Alrighty, sweet and tighty. Next. Aha, third person singular once more. So that means that we're using has, not have as the auxiliary. Good. But what about the main verb in this sentence? Well, the verb to do. Now this one's irregular, isn't it? Yes, do changes to did in the past simple form, and does anyone remember the past participle form? Yes, done. Do, did, done. Let's see it. He has done his homework. Great! Well done him. He's done his homework like a good boy. Next. Okay, so this one features a plural subject, they, which means that once again we need have, not has for the auxiliary. Good. Now what about the main verb, the verb to finish? Well, that's an easy one again, isn't it? Yes, it's regular. So, what do we add? What do we do to the end of the infinitive to make the past simple form? Yes, by Jove, that's correct. To make the past simple form, we add ed to the end of the infinitive. Finish becomes finished. Great! And what about the past participle? Well, it's a regular verb, isn't it? Yes, so it's the same form. The past simple form and the past participle are the same. Finish, finished, finished. Let's see it. They have finished the job. Great! And now, what about the last one? Well, what subject are we using in the sentence? We. Another plural subject form, which means, yes, that's right, it's have, not has for the auxiliary verb. Okay. So we've figured out which form of the verb to have we have to use. Not has, but because the subject we're using is plural, then we have to use have. Okay, and what about the main verb? Well, what is the main verb in the sentence? The verb to be. Okay, and is this verb regular or irregular? It's irregular, isn't it? It's a bit of an odd one, this. It's got more than a couple of forms. I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you are, and they are. And that's just the present simple form. What about the past simple form? Well, again, that's got more than one form. I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you were, and they were. Okay, so that's the present simple and the past simple form. What about the past participle? Yes, that's right, been. So, am, are, is becomes was, were, and then been. Let's see it. We have been to Merida. And if you're wondering, Merida is a nice little town in Mexico on the Yucatan Peninsula. A really nice town. Well, I liked it. And that's it. Yes, we've come to the end of the lesson. Well, to be more accurate, we're approaching the end of the lesson as I speak. So, as you all know, I'm off home. There's coffee to be drunk, caffeine to be ingested. Although the amount of caffeine I take in is actually very small. The more concentrated the coffee, the less the caffeine. And with the type of coffee I drink, the caffeine levels are very, very low. All right, so that's what I've got planned. And as for you lot, well, there must be some hoovering to do or some dishes to wash up. I can't believe that you've finished all of your chores. Still, if that's the case, then it must be time for you to teach the cow some more golf or play frisbee with the llamas. There's plenty of things to do, people. And remember, the world is your oyster. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place, just not today. Tomorrow. Have fun, people. Have fun. See you tomorrow. See you later. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye!